another one.
This one says, how are you handling? So I'm in my 4th year career path being a QA. I recently changed companies and joined a new team. I like to work on a new product and learn new things, but I am getting a bit annoyed and frustrated, and I've had it. I kind of added a little bit to it. Getting a bit annoyed by developers' ignorance about the quality or investigating things properly in order to make them functional. For example, we have a developer who fixes one thing, and based on that fix, we came across 5 new bugs. It's like a curse. You can retest a ticket from this person over and over and over again, like Groundhog Day testing this person's tickets. All of the testers notice that, but I am obviously the one who doesn't have patience anymore. How do you handle such cases in order that it doesn't influence your mood and motivation for work? Alrighty then. So I will say that I have been in similar positions in the past. And as a QA engineer, I had to, so there's a few things that I've done in the past in these situations, right? The I don't know if I'd say this is the first thing, but one of the things that I've done is set up processes in place, right? So as the person who was responsible for QA on the team, right? I had to analyze the situation that's happening and say, okay, this is the situation that we're in. What is the best way that we can prevent this, right? So one thing was, in addition to like speaking to the developer and stuff like that, but I also had to talk to the scrum master, to the product owner and stuff like that to say, okay, what mechanisms can we put in place that will reduce the amount of finding regression bugs from retesting after a developer would implement a fix, right? Because I'll tell you this, I've had this in the past where the story is, all right, we need to implement some type of login thing, right? Like some login feature. And then when you get the feature to test and you click login, it takes you to a blank page, right? It's like, oh, it was a React error and stuff like that. So then now they fix that, and then now right after you get past that blank page and something else doesn't work, right? And it's like, okay, are the developers actually testing? Are they doing dev testing before they provide it over to for QA, right? Because like I say, QA's goal shouldn't be able to find a bunch of bugs. It should be able to validate that the software is working as expected. So in order to do that, the developers need to do a good job. So what I would say is, for someone in your position, right? And this also gives you a great opportunity to take command of the QA team and, provide guidance and insight on how to be to the developers on how to work properly with QA, right? So what I would say is you need to put some processes in place, right? For like, say we are not going to test this, right? The QA team is not going to test this if, number one, there are no unit tests, right? Because for you to have this amount of issues happening, it sounds like there are not proper unit test coverage being done by the developers, right? So QA is not testing this if there aren't any unit tests, right? That's the number one thing. Like, you can be part of the code reviews and you can go straight into like looking for the unit tests in the code review. If there are no unit tests, then QA is not going to lay in, like, we're not going to even try to start testing this application. We will fail QA right away because unit tests are essential. They are required, right? And they're lucky you don't force them to do test-driven development, right? But if there are no unit tests, then we're not testing it. We're like, it does not pass QA without unit tests. That's number one, right? That would be the first thing that I would recommend you to do, right? The second thing, right, is you need to have automated tests. Required. You need to have automated tests because especially if the developers are just throwing stuff over the wall and you can't be confident in the work that they're doing, you can't just be manually testing stuff over and over and over again, right? So you need to start creating automated tests of the core features and stuff like that so that you can run those regression tests. So when they do fix something, you trigger the test and then that you can see that things are still working, right? So you need to add automated tests, right? So number one, unit tests, like you require developers to write unit tests. If there are no unit tests, and you're a part of the code review, if there's no unit tests, QA fails, period, right? So come back with unit tests and then we can start testing. Number two, get your automated regression test running so that once changes are done, that they can, you can run those, right? But number three, what I would also recommend is that you need to set up branch-based testing so that those automated tests can run on the particular branch or they can run locally on that developer's computer. And number four, right? So number one, you have to make sure that they're writing unit tests, right? It's not optional, right? Number two, set up automated tests. Number three, branch-based testing so you can run the unit test on that branch. But number four, make it available so that the developers can run regression tests on their fixes, on their changes, so that if the regression tests fail, they can't even send it back to you, right? So, and to me, that is part of being a QA engineer, right? That is part of being a QA engineer, is to put systems in place so that you can simplify testing, right? You can do more with less. You can simplify testing and you can make sure that the developers, before they throw stuff over the wall, that they actually test their work in multiple different ways through unit testing, through dev testing, through running the automated regression test that the QA team writes as well, so that they can say, okay, everything is passing. Now we're able to get and guess what? Once they develop their code, their stuff too, right? They can also run the regression test before they even send it to QA in the first place. So now QA can focus on testing the actual specific story. They don't have to go all over the place running around like a chicken with their head cut off. All right. So that is my recommendation for the situation that you're in. Do not get annoyed. Everything is an opportunity for growth, and it's going to help you more than anybody else, right? Because this is a perfect learning opportunity, and it is going to excel you. It is going to put you in a leadership position, because if the other QA people are not getting annoyed by it, then that means they don't care. The fact that you're getting annoyed by it, that shows that you care about the quality, and I want you to lead the effort so that you can take the QA team to the next level, and you can take your developers to the next level as well. Require unit tests, write automation tests, do branch-based testing, and set up a way so that the developers can run the regression tests on their own, so they do not waste your time and waste the company's time, and most importantly, they do not waste the customer's time. All right, we have to get to market as soon as possible, and having the right testing protocols in place will allow that to happen. All right.
If you enjoyed the fascinating information shared in this video and you want more, be sure to hit the subscribe button to Tech Coach Ralph to be notified for new videos.